Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Heather. I'm a PhD student at Pukeung National University and I'm approaching PhD for chemical engineering. Today I'm going to explain you how you can make a research poster in really easy and simple ways by just making these sections so that you can easily recognize which portion is for which part and which section goes to which section. So first of all, I'd just like to explain that I just made a small section in my poster which includes the logos, one for the conference, one for the university, or one for your lab, and then comes the title for the poster, and then comes the abstract or graphical abstract and the motivational background, approach, results and conclusion. So I've divided the poster in different sections based on my own requirement, so you can divide the poster based on your own requirement and the available data that you have. So right now I'm just adding the title for the poster and I'm checking whether it looks good or not. So as soon as you put things inside each and every section, you can just remove the space that you allotted for some specific area, and then you can increase the adjacent space for the other section, like I just did for the abstract and the graphical abstract. So what by graphical abstract I mean any supporting picture which can give or which can add colors to your poster, which I will show you soon. So now I'm just adding sections for my name and for my affiliation for my university. As you can see that we need to use bright and prominent colors which can make the poster stand out from other posters. For example, right now I'm just checking out which color would be more suitable for my university name and which color would be more suitable for my own name. So as you see, the color combination depends on all on your selection. For example, I'm using dark blue, so I'm using a combination of dark blue and yellow. So you can use you can make your title centered, or you can also make your title aligned to the left or right, depending upon whatever you like. So it all depends on how do you like it and how do you want it. So I already prepared the data and material for my poster on a separate file, and this work is already published in ACS, Sustainable Chemistry and Engineering. I just published this paper recently, so I'm just sharing this data so that I can show you how I make the graphics and how I make all the drawings which I use in my PowerPoint posters. So now you can see I'm going to help explain how I'm going to make this graphic with my hands simply in PowerPoint. So what you can do is you can just take small rectangles, and as you can see I'm just placing these rectangles together and just giving them a different shade so that they look apart from each other. So right now I'm just making a small hydrogen plant just to represent graphically how does a hydrogen plant may look like. It's not exactly it's going to look like having pipelines and all that, exchanges and all that. Just need to be a bit more realistic, and just need to provide as much information in a good way as you can. So I'm just using simple tools in graphics, whatever I can. I'm just using to illustrate this graphic in a beautiful way. Like you see now I'm making a hydrogen electrolyzer, or whatever you can say, or hydrogen plant, or like a facility small. I'm just using blocks and rectangles in just simple shapes in order to make any diagram. So you have to think more innovatively, and you have to think how can you use a certain tool in PowerPoint to make your drawing more effective. As you can see, I'm just using small shapes. So right now this process for making this graphic art just took me 5 minutes. And just to speed up the process so that you can learn more easily and you don't get bored too much by looking at a long video. So I'm just making it a bit faster because I'm used to make I used to make it a lot of times, so now I'm pretty much good at it. So what you can do is all the things that you can do is based on your own ideas and design. So right now I'm just making some design so that the reactor or the tower looks more beautiful. So I'm just using different small tools, which is bring to the front, send to the back, group and all that. So the other thing is that now I'm gonna copy this picture as an image and I'm gonna paste in my poster. Copying any image as a poster will help you reduce the complications. For example, if now I use it as a picture, I reduce the size, I can increase the size or reduce the size depending upon my own requirements. But if you use as a group of objects, whenever you reduce the size, all the objects will reduce the size and the image won't look more good. So now as you can see that my graphical abstract didn't need much space, so what I did is I moved the graphic abstract on my left hand side and instead used that place for introduction. So now I'm going to use introduction, and I'm going to use the same font which I use for abstract, and I'm going to explain or make some introduction like this. So these images that you can see here are just made simply by the PowerPoint tools. I'm not showing them how I made this in this one because they have less time. You can easily access the icons in the insert section. I'm just using simple text so that they look more prominent. If you notice that I'm using different colors so that they look more good or they go more well with the background or the other objects that you place in your poster. So every time I make a section, I just remove the outline for the previous section so I can know how does it looks like. It helps you see the better picture of your poster at each and every step. So now I'm going towards the next section, which is the motivational background, goal, or it can be methodology. Again, I said each section can be any section depending upon your requirements or depending upon the requirement of your data. For example, if you have more results section, then you can make your section more bigger. If you have a more conclusion section, you can make your conclusion section more bigger. So you can use any graphic which can help explain your diagrams more better. Like now I'm presenting some results. I will show you how I made this one very simply using the rectangle tools. So this rectangle is just an outline. I'm not using any fill. I'm just using an outline color and just making it thickness more bigger so that it will look more prominent. Also, you can just click on the yellow icon, yellow button on the corner of the rectangle to increase its curve a little bit more or less. And I'm just using simple arrows. I'm going to place this arrow and increase the width. I'm going to move them according to my own choice. As you can see, I put 4 arrows together and just put a single straight line to make them look like they are being moving from one arrow towards four different arrows, like 4 different branches. So that's how you make a simple diagram. And also this one is just a table. I'm just using different shading on my color or different color composition to make it a bit different. So now see, I use that section and I remove the extra space from the section so that I don't have to leave that space empty, or if you leave so much empty space doesn't look more good. Moving to the next section, which is the part of a goal or part of an introduction or like any section that you want. I just made an arbitrary section so that I can make it well present it and I can show you in a better way. So as you can see that as soon as I cover a space, I try to remove the empty spaces so that it doesn't look empty at all. So now we are going and moving towards the result section. As my work had 2 different parts, which include the experiments and the simulation work. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make 2 different parts. So right now I'm just making it as a result section. Later on I'm gonna replace these result section into 2 different parts, which include the experimental results and the simulation results. It can be really difficult if you have a large amount of data to summarize in a small section, but what you can do is you can think innovatively and present different ideas in form of graphs. Presenting work in form of table may carry a lot of space. You can do that in that time when you don't have a lot of data to present. You can use tables, or you can use big graphs or graphical abstracts, which includes the pie graphs or some other graphs to represent your work. These graphs are generated based on my experimental results, and these are the feed and product composition of my experimental data. So now you can see I'm using different colors to see how will it work fine with my previous data that things that I place in my abstract section and introduction section. I'm moving towards, as you can see now, I'm replacing my section names. This one is for experiments and this one is for simulation data. And now what I'm doing is I'm presenting my process summary, which I had in the previous section. So now I'm presenting simulation results, and also I'm showing that how my utilities will look in form of a pie chart to make it more presentable. These graphs are really easy to make. What you can do is you can just simply make a pie chart, and what you can do is you can increase the size of the data labels. By increasing size of data label, it will look more prominent. And what you can do is that you can use simple text options to make it more bigger and put the text along with the graph. Later on you can copy it as an image and then place it or remove the extra space, and can place it anywhere as you like in form of an image or anything. So that's how you make a graph, or that's how you can make your tabular data into a good form and make it look more presentable. People do use some form of tables which doesn't look more good, doesn't look prominent, doesn't look eye-catchy. You can use different colors to make it more prominent. These bar graphs are also made in PowerPoint, also can be made in PowerPoint or can also be made in Excel. But this time I use an Origin Pro to make these graphs. The reason why I use Origin Pro is that Origin Pro is more professional and has more color schemes which can make the graphs more prominent. So now what I'm just summarizing my results, which includes the minimum selling price and the technoeconomic summary and the installation cost breakdown. So now mostly the PowerPoint poster is ready. Now what you have to focus is on that how are you gonna make the rest of the portion more better. Now I'm just removing the extra spaces and the outlines to see the actual picture of my poster. Now I'm gonna see what else I can add. If I want to make them in sections, or if I want to make them in different part, or just want to keep it like this, it's up to me. Or I can change the color or background, anything I want. So I'm just gonna use simple section or lines and simple tools and simple icons or shapes in the PowerPoint inbuilt icons and shapes. I'm just gonna use a small bracket to make it a circular bracket, to make it like in the form of a boundary, and I'm just gonna extend it from on the top and the bottom similarly. And then similarly I'm gonna do it for the other parts, which includes introduction, goal, experiments, and simulation. This is really easy and really easy to do. People might think that it takes a lot of time to do these kind of things, but once you do it and once you are good at it using different tools, then it's just a matter of time. It only takes a few minutes or 1 hour to make the whole poster if you have all the data assigned. So what you can do is that you can pre-locate your data, and you can make different graphs and collect different material which you want to present in the poster. Then it is really easy to put that poster into a PowerPoint presentation. As you can see that I prepared this data beforehand, because I used this data before for my manuscript and for my other experiment, for my other presentations. So it was really easy for me, although it took a lot of time for me in the start to make it. But once you are used to it, it takes a lot lesser time to make, and you also have more ideas, and you also can think more differently. How can you make your work more presentable? So now you can see that I'm including different sections, and I'm just making simple boundaries to divide each section into a different, so that it looks separate from the other section, previous section. And similarly, I have some extra space. I already kept some margins in the start, so that I have a safety margin in which I can play with, like moving the data in the a little bit more at the bottom, or a little bit more on the right or left side. So I already kept a lot of margins so that I can play with it in the end when I need. So now I'm just adjusting the picture so that they have a good symmetry, and they don't look congested. They also have some extra space on the end, so that it looks give a better picture. So now you can see that my data is a little bit assigned to the left. So I'm just gonna I'm gonna select all the brackets and see by changing the color how does the poster look like. So right now the background is white. It doesn't give the more prominent look, but it will look more beautiful when you can change the background color. So now I'm trying a different scheme. I'm just gonna copy it. I'm gonna remove all these brackets and boundaries. I'm gonna change the color for the background and see how it looks. Now I'm just gonna do is I'm gonna change the background color. Now first you can see that how does it looks without a background, and now I'm gonna change add a color to the background and see how does it looks like with the different background. So this dark green color hides the main theme of the poster, but if you use a gradient or if you use light colors, it will really make your poster stand out and really make it look beautiful. I hope you guys like this video. Please do subscribe and like my channel, because I'm gonna be posting educational stuff, vlogs, and different kind of ideas about research and my daily life in this channel. Till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.